Have you ever wondered how people that are on the internet, successful business owners, are getting to the $1 million level? Well, let me tell you, the way that they're getting to the $1 million level and the way that I got to the $1 million level was to put a sales funnel in place. A sales funnel is something that you can utilize to help find people who are interested in what you had to offer, and then to nurture them through your sales process to be able to ultimately make more sales. So to explain it in detail, what is a funnel? So a funnel is where you're going to advertise and you're going to have leads come in and you're going to be working those leads and what we call warming them up in hopes to ultimately making a sale. Now, before we move forward, I want you to understand, and this is something that you need to really understand, because I see a lot of people drop out and stop working their sales funnel if they have one in place. And if you don't have one in place, I'm going to help you do that in this video. But what people get frustrated and discouraged about is that they don't understand that a sales funnel is put in place to bring a lot of people at the beginning, at the top of the funnel, and the further down those leads get through your sales process, there's going to be a smaller amount of people. And so here's a big secret that's right out there, but it might you might not understand it, or it might have passed over you, is that once you find where that sweet spot is on how many people have to go through your sales funnel to equal a sale, you're on your way to millions of dollars. But what a lot of people start to do is they start to fall off because there's work that has to be done on each of those levels. So there's work to get people to even get into your funnel. There's work to understand what people will care about while they're going through your sales funnel. And then there's work that you're going to have to put in to actually make the sale. And so other people have kind of made this seem a little bit easier than it is, even though it works, but some people have made it seem easier than it is, and people start to drop off. So they make a sales funnel if they have one in place. If you don't, remember, I'm going to show you how to put one in place in this video. But I want you to really understand this, is that just because you have it in place does not mean that you're not going to have to do work on each level. So now let's move to the next slide here on your $1 million. I want you to say it, $1 million sales funnel. I want you to say that out loud, because when you say it out loud and you think it and you feel it, things are going to start to change for you. You're going to start that first process. Now, the reason why I said that is that, let me ask you this question. Do you believe that you can get there? This is the part where I was saying a lot of people don't really get into this when they're teaching people or they're, helping them get their sales process in place. And it's something that is skipped over, and that is the reason why the majority of business owners will fail, is because when it comes down to it, they can believe in their product or service, and that's a huge part of it. You shouldn't be selling anything to anybody that you don't believe in. But also, do you believe in yourself? This is something that people don't pay enough attention to. I'm of the belief that if you believe fully in yourself and you believe in your product, you're going to get to $1 million sales funnel. But if you don't believe in yourself and you have a product that could get you to $1 million sales funnel, that you won't get to $1 million. And now let me break that down. So whenever we insert ourselves in anything, see, a product is a product, a service is a service. But what makes the difference is when we insert ourselves into that product or services application of business. So here's an example. Let's just say that you are a plumber, and you had this plumbing business. Maybe you're going to go off and you've worked for someone you're for years, and now you want to start your own business, and then you insert yourself into that same business that you saw other people be successful in, but now you're not able to succeed. And let me tell you some reasons why you may not be able to succeed, even though that product or that service is the same that someone else has been successful with. You've probably seen this with yourself, with things that you've tried and you see other people do it, and you're like, how are they successful? Well, I can tell you that one of the major pieces is that you have to believe in yourself. And believing in yourself means that you're going to have to get rid of some of the things like negative thinking, some of your bad habits, negative people, inferior thoughts about yourself, inferior thoughts about you dealing with other people, the thought process that you have no money. We all have money because money is created from ideas. So if you have money to invest, then you have money to invest. If you don't have money to invest, you have creativity to get money to invest. So think about it that way. Don't just think, I don't have no money. And then support. You say, well, I don't have anyone that wants to support me. Well, if you show that you support yourself, people will just come from, I don't even know how to describe it. It happened with me where once I showed that I believed in myself, I would just come across people and they would just give me information. I was like, I've been wanting that information. Who are you? And, met them at a coffee place. Or it was a business associate that just out of the blue said something and said, hey, for some reason I need to tell you this. When you get yourself into the right mindset, you're going to see that there's going to be a lot of support that comes for you. But what has to happen first is you have to change and be willing to accept support. There could be people right in front of you saying, hey, man, if you do this or you do that, I think that would be helpful to you. And we're not talking about with business. We're just talking about with the way that you're thinking about yourself. And they're giving you what they see, what you're projecting out. So if you could be thinking, hey, I'm good and I'm successful, or I'm trying to be successful, and then you could be projecting negativity out to people, and they're like, you need to stop doing that because when I come around you, you're negative. And I can't stand to be around negative people. That's how I am. I cannot stand to be around negative people. You walk into a room and a person is negative. I cannot stand that. If a person is negative that works for me, they won't be working for me for a long period of time. I'd rather have a person who is trying to do their best and have a positive attitude than someone who is a top of the line person, but they have a negative attitude, because I just cannot stand negative people. Negative people also, no matter what level of education, no matter what level of creativity that they might have, will end up imploding your company or imploding on themselves because of negativity. That's why you'll see some successful people do bad things to themselves or other people, and that's because they're very negative thinking people. So now, the next thing that you need to think about is, can your product or service even get you to $1 million? And every product or service could get someone to $1 million in revenue. It just might mean that you have to sell a lot of products or services. So the easy way to do it is divide $1 million into the cost of what you're selling, to your sale price. The sale price of your product or service, and that would equal here. I did it for one of my products or one of my services that I offer, and it was 2,000 sales. So making 2,000 sales would get that particular service that I offer for one of my companies to $1 million. That simple. So now let's move to the next slide here. So now let's put your $1 million sales funnel into place. So now, if you're going to have $1 million sales funnel, you're going to have this in place. I don't care what type of business you have, you're going to have something like this in place. And the great thing about it is that when you have this in place, this automated system will do most of the work for you. And depending on what type of business you have, you will be able to either make sales, while you're asleep, literally, or you might have to make phone calls, but stuff will be set up for you. Just imagine if you came into work and you had leads ready for you to call to talk about your product or service, or you woke up and there were people that already purchased your product or service. This sales process will get you into that position. Now, we know that people are busy. We know that people are on the internet. They're doing all types of stuff, but people want your products or services. I'm of the mindset that you could be successful if you figure out how to insert yourself into where people are at. So think about it this way. I hear some of the times where people say, well, it's hard to get in front of people. And so they try all of these crazy things. They're like, advertising doesn't work. People don't respond to ads and all this stuff. And I'm like, people do respond to ads. People don't respond to bad ads. People don't respond to things that they don't want, they don't have any interest in. And the internet has made it so easy for us to be able to set up ads and to put a funnel in place to work your leads so you can find the serious people from the not so serious people, and then to be able to monetize those people who are serious. Like, it's really that easy, but people try to make it so complicated. I think they do that because if they don't make it complicated, you don't believe that it's worth it. So if I was to say bottom line, if I was to say, okay, it's going to take you 50 steps to get to a sale, so or to $1 million. So if I said it's going to take 50 steps for you to get to $1 million, and I'm going to charge you $5,000 to do that. So for those 50 steps, I'm going to get you to $1 million, and it's only going to cost you $5,000. You'd be like, okay, I will do it. Now, I came right back around and I said, you really only need to have 3 dominant steps and you'll get to $1 million. But I'm going to charge you $5,000 to do that. Just how do you feel when I say that? So on one hand, you're like, I'll pay you $5,000 to get to $1 million, and it's going to take 50 steps. But then when I said, okay, it's only going to take 3 steps for $5,000 to get you to $1 million, you start to think, well, man, why are you charging so much if it only takes 3 steps? And see, that's what's wrong with your thinking, is that you're so involved with all of the steps. If it was just 1 step, your thought process on the way to get to where you want to be is like scrambled from what other people have made on videos and things that like misconceptions and just things that you have accepted to be real that really don't have anything to do with you being able to get there. Like it could take 50 steps, it could take 100 steps, it could take 2 steps, it could take 3 steps. What matters is that you have logical processes in place. So if you have a logical process in place, what does it matter if it takes 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps, or 50 steps? So don't focus on the steps. Focus on what you would have to have in place. And if what you have to have in place makes sense, then if it's 50 steps, buy 50 steps. If it's only 3 steps, buy 3 steps. But don't get stuck on, well, you're only going to do 3 steps for me and this person's going to do 50 steps for me. When all you're trying to do is get to the enjoyment of having $1 million. So now let's get right to it. To the first step to being able to get people into your sales funnel, remember that funnel. To get people into your sales funnel, they have to see your ad, and you have to have what I call a winning ad. The winning ad means that it is describing exactly what you're offering to someone, like the benefit. But you do not need to sell people at that. Now, there's certain products or service that you do try to sell, and that is very difficult. But on your winning ad, you do not sell here. You're just lead generating. All you want to do is you want to get leads so they can go into your funnel. So the leads are going to go here. Now, have you ever heard of the term, people don't buy from anyone that they don't like or trust, or know, like, and trust? So if people don't buy from people that they know, like, and trust, how can someone want to buy something from you unless it's a commodity that's going to be the same? But I'm pretty sure you're here with a specialty, with some type of product or service that's going to be a specialty. And that specialty, part of it might be yourself. So even if you're selling something that is similar to something that someone else has, and in this example, I'll use an attorney. So an attorney does the same thing. Let's just say personal injury attorney. You see the advertisements, injured, call this number. So what is really the difference that they're selling? They're selling the end result, and then they're selling themselves. So people will interact with people that they know, like, and trust. So with the busy life with busy lifestyles that people have, the attention to the short attention span, how do we get those individuals' attention, keep that attention, and have an opportunity to turn those individuals into sales? The way that you do it is you have a follow-up process in place to tell them about your business. Now, when you're telling them about your business, you're not only just trying to get them to do business with you. You need to give them information about what you've done for people, what you can do for them, and you need to demonstrate have some sort of way of demonstrating that to them without just coming straight out trying to get them to buy your product or service. There will be a time that you do send out to your leads to get them to buy your product or service. But at the beginning, you're just trying to get them to understand, to know, like, and trust your business. And the only way to do that is over time. Now, from personal experience, when I put this into place, I'm going to add another box here. And what this represents here, it could be any type of process that could follow up with leads. But for this example, I'm going to just use email. So if you're using email autoresponders, that's where if someone becomes a lead, you're going to automatically send them information about what you had to offer. What I learned when I put this into place on day 7, the 7th email that I sent out to people, some of my leads were deciding to buy that service without even talking to my reps. And I was thinking to myself, what is making these people go ahead and buy it when I used to just run ads here trying to get them to buy? I was skipping this whole process. I was like, I'm just going to write this ad. I know that it's a service that people want. And then I would send them to my sales page and nobody would buy. And then all I did is just made one tweak, generated leads, put those leads into a follow-up system, and then made emails about what we can do, what we've done for other clients, and what we can do for them. And people started to buy without me even talk, without my reps talking to them. And so what it came down to is it was the know, like, and trust. So if you were to go and let's just say that you visited, someone wanted to do business with you, and they just said, hey, can you stop by? And they just talked with you. They didn't buy nothing. They just talked with you. Hey, what are your ideas? What do you think about this? What do you think about that? And then they was like, hey, Steve, thanks for coming by. I really appreciate it. And I'll be followed up with you. And then they called you back again, and they were like, I got a quick question about this. What do you think about this? Hey, okay, yeah, that's a great idea. And then they would like, shake your hand. They said, hey, okay, I'll follow back up with you. And then they called you again. They said, come by. I want to talk to you about something. And then you walked in the door and they said, here's a check. I want to buy your services. So why would that individual end up doing that? That's because over a time period of just coming into contact with you, by seeing you, you giving them information. Hey, he answered my questions. So think about it, the psychology. If someone is asking you something and you're like, hey, this is the way that I would deal with it. This is the way that you can work on this. Hey, I'll give you, here's some information on what you can do about that. That's what you call interaction and knowing, liking, and trusting someone. Because if you give them information and that information was useful, they're going to be like, man, this guy has good information. And then you're going to be like, hey, the information he gave me, that was some damn good information. I like this guy. And then trust him. So it's going to be know, like, and trust. That's what you're building right here. That's what you're building right here. And then the next step on that is your sales page. It could be a sales page or it could be a thank you page. A sales page or a thank you page, depending on what you had to offer. So like with our personal injury attorneys, they can't, you can't sign up with them. You can get a consultation to speak with them. Or like insurance. I have insurance agents that advertise that we do this for. You can't just sign up straight for the service. There might be some services that you can, but most of them, you got to talk with the agent so they can make sure that you get what you want. So what you would do is you would just make either a sales page if you could sell your product or service, or you would have a thank you page. So now let's talk about both, because both are important. So if you have your leads and you have people go to a thank you page, so basically what you're going to be doing, if you cannot sell your product or service without speaking to someone, you're just going to make sure that this is what I call a prep page, where you're just like prepping them. Hey, we're going to be calling you from this number. If you want to schedule a specific time, you can click here. Here's some stuff about our business. This is what we've done for our clients. It's everything that you would have in a sales page, except for you just don't have a button for people to go ahead and buy your product or service. That's really the only difference. That's the only difference. With a sales page, what you're going to do is you would have that information in there with a button, but it's going to be a little bit of work, because if you're trying to get people to buy without talking to you, you're going to have to go through a process of finding out what people really, really, really care about before they pull out that wallet and get that credit card. You got to do that. If you don't do that, it's going to be very difficult. But let me tell you, this is why you should be happy that you're watching this video. Because what I learned with how to make my sales pages better is from emails where people have replied back to us with questions. So you would think, okay, if they replied back with questions about what we were offering, that means that they're very serious, but there's something that we didn't answer. And guess what we did? We started putting those answers to those questions that we heard a lot of, we incorporated them into our sales page. Now, if you want to be very aggressive, like we are very aggressive, you can insert an additional method of communicating with your leads. So you can have the email process for the know, like, and trust, and then you can call your leads and you can text your leads to get to talk to more people. That's if you have a sales team in place, or maybe you are used to making your calls. That's what you can do. And when you talk to people, and you know they're already warmed up because they saw your ad, they became a lead. If you follow my instructions, you're going to send them an email immediately when they become a lead to let them know about your business by going to your sales page or thank you page. So when you call them back, it's going to be like, hey, we're calling you back. You had filled out a form on Facebook or Instagram or whatever platform you're going to be utilizing for running your ads. And then you'll be able to start the conversation off with the person. So just think, if you run that whole process and you're able to make a sale, you're on your way to millions of dollars. All you have to do is just pay attention to what's happening in the process, and then you just ramp it up. So now, one of the things that you're going to run into that you're going to have to figure out, but I'm not going to go into too much detail right now, is what you're paying to run your ads, what you're paying to generate leads, and what your ultimate sale price is of your product or service. Does that make sense to be able to get you, number one, to millions of dollars, and also keep money in your pocket? Because that's going to be one of the things that's going to determine if you're going to get to $1 million and it costs you $1 million, or you're going to get to $1 million and you're going to get to put a large percentage of that into your pocket. So I want to thank you for your time. If you haven't done it yet, please subscribe to my channel. Please post your questions and comments. This is Stephen A. Williams, president and founder with Making Money with Stephen A. Williams here on YouTube.